the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the join button. Hit all the buttons. Get weird with the buttons, guys. Get weird with the buttons.
I deleted all the pictures of you right on my Instagram. You can't see it in my dreams. I hold you close just like I wish I can. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep 'cause you moved on. I wish I tried, but you're with someone else tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? What's that show we watched together? I can just remember you and me. Flipping channels, but my mind is watching slideshows of our memories. It's late at night, I know you're gone, and I can't sleep 'cause you moved on. I wish we tried, 'cause maybe you'd be here tonight. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Oh, running right back to where we started. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Broken hearted. Tried to make it all okay, but the end is still the same. Oh, why do we end up broken hearted? Why do we end up broken hearted? Running right back to where we started. Tried to make
Where did
it
we
all
start?
okay,
Where
but
did we
the
start?
end is still the same. Whoa, why do we end up
Hitting
broken
the like
hearted?
button. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the internet one more time on a Monday. August 2rd. That's the second. The 2rd is the second day of August. Good to be back after a crazy, well, not a crazy weekend, but a wild weekend. I've had a wild weekend of a time. Namely, recovering from massive vaccinations, my guy and gal. My guys and my gals. My boys and my ladies. And the non-binaries. What's up? Massive vaccinations. Oh, yeah, whole lot of them. I got a whole lot of them in both of my arms. In a relatively okay. I just am a little exhausted. But that's all right. We'll deal with that as time comes. I took every single recommended vaccine that they said that they might be able to. There might be a reason to get vaccinated for. I took all of them. I was like, sure, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. Does that conflict with the other ones? No? Cool, let's do it. Let's do that one too. Why not? And they're like, hey, you might travel in the future? Sure. Yeah, I'll get that one too. Yeah, stick one in my foot. Who cares? Bunch of medications acquired. A bunch of other stuff going on. As you guys know, my office is a disaster right now as I'm accumulating all of the little bits and bobs and chargers and adapters and batteries and headlamps and all this crazy nonsense that I will need to suddenly be the guy going to Peru with the aquarium co-op. I am the... So some people were asking, like, what's the deal? Why are you suddenly going to Peru? And the the quick, easy, simple explanation is some people that were going to go on the trip can now not go on the trip. So, Corby himself came over to me and said, "Hey, can you come help in Peru?" And I said, "I don't know. Wow, that's really short notice. Let me see what I can do." After about 1 billion phone calls and moving stuff schedule-wise around and looking at the calendar and yelling at the calendar and wondering what the calendar is doing and then poking buttons at the calendar, shifting all sorts of stuff around and all of that. Geek Boy's wondering if I'm getting better 5G reception after the vaccine. After the COVID vaccine, COVID-19, I've been vaccinated for since March. I've been fully vaccinated for COVID since March. And any of the crazy misinformation you guys are reading about that vaccine, stop reading it. It's nonsense, and you're a moron for having read a Facebook post. Okay? That's my take on it. If you're an idiot that thinks, oh my God, it's a refrigerated virus. I heard that recently. Somebody didn't want to take the vaccine because it was refrigerated. That was their point. I guess they don't eat milk or dairy or any kind of meat. I guess. I don't know, because that stuff's all that stuff's refrigerated also. I'm just not 100% sure what all these bozos are reading. And, then people get mad at me for calling those people bozos. And it's like, okay, well, if you've got 1,200 doctors over here, all of this peer-reviewed research, all of this going on, and then some nonsense that you read from like Tucker Carlson or something stupid like that, who has basically no education whatsoever. Yeah, you're kind of a dummy. You're kind of a dummy if you're not listening to the educated people with the posted research, right? So, yeah, go get your vaccine for COVID. Go get your vaccine for typhoid. Go get it for hepatitis A, B, and C. Go get dengue fever. Get your malaria medication. Get your yellow fever vaccines. Get every vaccine you can. Diphtheria, pertussis, rubella, tetanus. Get all of those vaccines. Get all of them. Yeah. 100%. Go get all of those vaccines. You know why? There's hundreds of thousands of people working on that stuff. Probably millions of people, millions of hours of work has gone into developing those vaccines, and some idiot at some point in time wrote an article in a newspaper or something similar to that convinced a bunch of people to be scared, and it still is being perpetuated 40 years later so that some grifters can make money. That's basically what it boils down to. It's people that are lying to you so that they can make money. I don't make any money off of vaccines. I don't have anything to do with any of that stuff, just in case anybody thinks like, oh, wow, you're just a shill. You're just a shill for the which I've heard a bunch of times and is nonsense. Also, I don't make any money off that stuff. The only money I make off of YouTube is from memberships, Patreon, the occasional AdSense dollar, and Super Chats. That's it. And and Amazon affiliate links, which I've been very open and forthwith about all of that. Those are my income streams from YouTube. So if anybody's wondering if one of them happens to be some kind of vaccine company that I can't even name off the top of my head, has nothing to do with that. As Geek Boy says, clearly a news in the air quotes person is just as smart as the scientists. Right. Yeah, the guy who was born into his dad married a rich person's, like, okay, that guy's as smart. Yeah, got it. Yeah. Tucker Carlson, for example, is the Swanson food heir. He's going to heir he's brought in the Swanson food fortune by his dad marrying the daughter of the Swanson food guy thing. So that, it all makes sense, right? The Fish Tank Barn with a $5 super chat for the dengue fever vaccination defense fund. That's right. So, what's crazy is a bunch of these a bunch of the vaccinations and stuff that I got, you have to pay for out of pocket because they're travel related. So like I think one of them was $194. I think one was $90. I don't even know. I mean, I'm gonna get the bill for it later and then pay the bill. That's basically how that'll go. You know, so it's one of those things that I guess maybe I'm an advocate for paying for vaccines. Like I guess I don't know. I mean I guess the thing is that they're optional vaccines, so sometimes you got to pay for that stuff because they're like, hey, you don't have to go anywhere. You could just stand right here forever. But needless to say, a little excited to go on this trip. I wanted it to be at the beginning of the show here, so you guys would people would be able to check in and go like, hey, where is this guy? This guy, me, right here, is going to be gone, helping the Aquarium Co-op film for Aquarium Co-op YouTube videos, which I personally, I'm very nervous about this trip. Realistically, I want to be fully open with you guys about this. That I've never been deep into South America. I've been into Mexico and stuff like that, but I've never been deep into South America. I do have some reticence because my mother was in the medical field her whole entire life. Of course, like here's the immediate response I get, like, oh, hey, I might be going to Peru, blah, blah, blah. Boom. Without even like missing a beat, my mom starts telling me about her friend that had butt worms from going to Peru. Yeah, some kind of tapeworm in her butt. I don't know how to explain this in a way that I don't think there's any way to explain it that sounds not like it's like a horror movie. It's like a movie of just pure horror in your mind that there could be a worm biting inside your butt. I mean, I don't know. That's just freaking me out. But I am a little bit nervous just because of the preparation time. I had very little preparation time to wrap my mind around this like long trip, having to wear masks. Like you have to be on the plane. We have to be on the plane for like 20 hours or something like that, wearing 2 masks. I think you have to double mask while you're on the plane. We'll see how it goes. I'm not sure what it's going to be like to try and sleep with a mask on. I've never tried that. I don't believe that's something that I've ever tried or accomplished in my life. I don't think it's something that I've done, but I presume if I'm tired enough, I'll fall asleep, I guess, because I'm of that nature. I'm the kind of guy who could like just lay down and go to sleep because I'm tired, you know what I mean? I do the sitting up sleeping thing, where you're like, right? I do that every once in a while, and Vicky gives me a hard time about it. Constantly. Like if I'm in the car and we're driving somewhere and it's going to be like more than a half an hour, I will fall asleep in the passenger seat.
More than 5 minutes.
Okay, more than 5 minutes. I try to give myself a little. Try to give myself the benefit of staying awake for a half an hour, extra 25 there. But Vicky just interjected and said 5 minutes is about how long I stay awake in the car. I think she's butthurt about it. She might have a butt worm. You're right. True. She might have a butt worm. You never know. But it was just like getting everything together, figuring out the paperwork, getting the COVID test, plane tickets, organization, paperwork to figure out if the country will let you in or not, or blah, 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 blah. There's just a whole lot of stuff. So a little bit nervous about that. But I also see it as like a great opportunity to go do some camera work, which I love doing. So we'll see how well this will work out. Kind of going into this trip, a little bit of a different take on this trip. Of like, look, I'm just gonna go and just film. I'm not really gonna be filming stuff for my YouTube channel, but I think I might film some of my experience for this channel. I think I might just do some little tidbit stuff and make a little just explaining my experience. I think is probably what I'll probably do. That depends on if enough people hit the like button. Did enough people hit the like button today? Probably not. I don't know. We're live at a weird time, so we don't have that many people here today, We just don't. I was first and second and third into the chat. You know? So, that's a thing. Fish Tank Barnes wondering if I had to get a visa for Peru. No. I have a passport and everything, and if you have a passport, you have to do like a health report and all this kind of stuff with Peru. You don't have to do a visa there. Peru will just let you in if you have a passport, but because of the pandemic and everything that's going on right now, there's some different paperwork stuff you got to do in order to be able to get in and get out. Like, you have to have a COVID test that is negative within the last, like, it's either 72 or 48 hours of your flight. So you have to get this travel COVID test, then have the result, then go to the airport, basically. Which is kind of crazy. Although some of the guys we were talking to said that they're doing COVID tests at the airport with, like, that rapid response, which I believe only takes like 10 minutes to get the result back. I guess they might be taking those, but who knows? I go in early tomorrow morning and get mine, so that hopefully I'll get the result and then have that print out so I can take it with me, so I'm not counting on a digital record. Excuse me, I had breathed in some spit. So, yeah, we're going to be doing all that stuff. COVID testing doesn't bother me. I've been tested, like, I don't know. I went and looked at my results the other day, and it was like, oh, wow, I've been tested for a bunch. Okay, I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Yeah, Geek Boy has a good point here, but what does a doctor who spent years and years in school know what that talk show host doesn't? That's a brilliant point. It's a brilliant point. And here's the thing, like, I would consider, so just so you guys know how I view myself, I don't necessarily view myself any more important or intelligent than somebody who does a show, right? I don't consider myself that. But if I had a virologist here who had a PhD, I would generally weigh their opinion and listen to what they had to say a lot more than what I would have to say. But the way the things go in the year 2021, people listen to familiar voices more than they listen to anybody else. So, as a familiar voice to some people, 500,000 people that watch this show every week, right? My reminder to them would be like, get vaccinated. I've read a bunch of the stuff. Have I read it all? No, not at all. Not even remotely. All of it? No. That's way too much stuff. Get vaccinated. It's shown to have good efficacy. Wear a mask. It's shown to have good efficacy than not, right? And people would be like, well, why wear a mask? Well, this is all the same people that said don't wear a seatbelt in the 60s, right? If y'all are wondering what I'm talking about, I'd like you to go look up 1963, because in 1964, it passed a federal law that said if you're making a new car, you have to put a seatbelt in it. And then go look up the protests on how many people protested about mandatory installation of seatbelts into cars. Go look that up, and you will be like, oh my God, there are people in the United States that will protest anything. Yeah. Then go look up all of the people that refuse to wear condoms through the 80s and 90s. Right? Most of them are young parents. Right? Go look that up. Yeah, so it's one of those things. So, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of how it goes. Geek Boy says, are they still jabbing your frontal lobe through the nostril for the COVID tests? I've had many nasal swabs over the years for staphylococci, influenza, and COVID. Let's put all three of those together. That nasal swab is like an aggressive Q-tip in your nose. And if that's a problem for you for like 5 seconds, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe you just shouldn't go to the store or anything anymore. I don't know. It's mildly uncomfortable. It's administered by a medical professional. if that's too difficult, then I don't know what to tell you. There are people with diabetes that have to give themselves injections every day. Swabbing a Q-tip in your nose is not a big deal. Yeah. In New Zealand, there's a lot of talk around vaccine privilege, whereby typically the lowest socioeconomic rung less likely vaccinated. Should I hesitate until I'm satisfied I'm not taking that privilege? No. If you have an opportunity to go get vaccinated right now. Yep. You just go and get vaccinated and get out of the way so that your name doesn't have to keep coming up on the list. Right? You just go, man. Your number came. Go, get in line, get vaccinated, and then get the hell out of the way. That's it. Also, Robert Malone, who invented the mRNA vaccine tech in the 80s, has urged caution as to the speed at which this one was developed, and how they're tracking bad reactions. Okay. Has that caused concern for me? Okay. One of the reasons that this vaccine was so incredibly fast was computers, which I think most all of us are on some kind of computing device right now, okay? We realize that computers, compared to the computers in the 1980s, it was a struggle for your Commodore 64 to play Jumpman, which was a black background screen with, I don't even know if it was 8-bit graphics, but a man hopping around on squares on your computer was incredibly difficult for computers to do back then, right? How would you compare the computational ability of the human race now compared to the 1980s? It's a little bit different, isn't it? And in the 1980s, the Cold War was going on, so there wasn't even any information being shared back and forth. Well, the genome mapping of the COVID-2 took about 2 days to get done with the computational power that exists now. Okay? Then, when you talk about all of the steps to produce a vaccine, they normally have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, right? And they normally do those in succession, right? Now, there's enough people working on this, they were able to do all of those steps all at the same time. And I think once you kind of realize and look at how the assessment of that, where you go, oh, they were working on all of the parts all at the same time because they didn't have a limitation in manpower, computational power. We had, all these labs open and working on all of the stuff and communicating back and forth because it's a global issue. You start to realize, like, oh, the people that were working on Part C were working on Part C the same time people were working on Part M or R or S or whatever. Everybody's working on all those parts all at the same time. That's why it was so fast. That's why it was so fast. It wasn't a matter of like, oh, somebody already had it made, or I don't even know what the hell people were thinking about it, but it's because all of those steps were all happening all at the same time, as opposed to in succession, which companies do because they want to expand on the amount of time it takes to develop something, because then it shows the value later on in the marketplace when you're able to sell the technology that you've developed. Because you wouldn't hire 100 million people to work for your company so the thing gets made in 5 days and then fire 100 million people. It doesn't really work that way, right? Every company has a certain amount of employees that they can continue to employ in their labs and the computer rooms and the genetic map, all the nonsense that goes into it. You only have a certain amount of employees. So you can't just hire unlimited amount of employees, develop a thing, then fire them all, then try to rehire them again in a year when you're going to do the next one, right? So instead of doing them all in like an alphabet row like that, they were doing them all at the same time. Despite technological advances and this being a great potential vaccine, even following that process, we're moving extremely fast, i.e. too fast, and there's signals of concerns. Okay. If we break down that sentence, it's nonsense, okay? Despite technological advances. Okay, what do you mean despite technological advances? We have technological advances, period. End of story. Compared to the 80s, that's for sure. So you can't despite technological advances. You have to accept technological advances. And this being a great potential vaccine, this isn't a potential vaccine. This is a vaccine that has gone out to hundreds of millions of people. Okay? That doesn't make it a potential vaccine. That makes it a vaccine. And even following those processes, we're moving extremely fast, i.e. too fast, and there's signals of concerns. Okay. If we're moving too fast, what is the pace then? Okay. Is it 10 years? Is it 50 years? Is it 100 years? Is it 1,000 years before anything is supposed to be completed? It seems pretty odd to me that they normally leave out how long something is supposed to take, and yet concerned statements about it moving too quickly. Okay? That's an issue. That's an issue. How long is it supposed to take? How many people are we supposed to test it on? Because this was tested on in multiple groups of like 50,000, 60,000 people. Lots of people volunteered for it. Even in the area that I live in Western Washington, a lot of people volunteered to test the efficacy of these vaccines and whatnot. I even signed up for it. I wasn't a part of that, but I was a viable candidate that I added my name to the list. So, like, just from that sentence, you have, like, a whole bunch of statements that are so easy to just go, like, what are you talking about? And if you actually ask them and push them on those statements that have been made, you start to realize that that argument starts to fall apart. It just crumbles apart and doesn't make any sense. But the way that the internet works now is somebody will take this little tiny snippet and throw it up in your face and make you like wonder what the hell you've ever thought about anything, right? And you know, that's the issue. It's like Zipgun says, my mother got scared off of getting the vaccine because she's the one who had a bad reaction to a flu vaccine. She is currently in hospital because she got COVID. Take the vaccine. Yep. I know a lot of people have gotten extraordinarily upset over the years at the flu vaccine because they assume that if you get a vaccine, you're just going to 100% like not ever get sick. Like that's kind of the perception that people get. And one of the issues that comes up with that is that somebody goes, oh, well, I got the flu vaccine and I still caught the flu. Issue number one, were you tested for influenza? Did you actually get tested at the hospital and they came back and said that you got the flu? Because normally in the United States, people get some kind of sickness, then they falsely attribute it to the flu. And they go, well, last year I got the flu. I missed 3 days of work and I was out sick and I had to stay home. Okay, did you actually get tested for influenza and have a positive influenza result, like from the doctor's office? Or did you just come to the assumption that you had influenza and just made it up and then wandered around and told it to everybody? Because that's very commonplace in the U.S. that people are like, I had the flu and it wasn't a big deal and I got the shot. Okay, which influenza did you catch? Were you tested for it? No, I just was at home sick. Okay, well, this is a big, ridiculous, nonsensical situation. Now, when those influenza reports come out, they're like, yeah, no, it's not 100% protection. Like basically nothing in life is 100% protection, right? It's not even 100% assurance that you won't win the lottery, right? Like, you have a very, 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 very small, minute chance of winning the lottery, right? But it's not 100% chance that you're going to not win the lottery, right? It's very rare that anything would actually be 100% of anything. It's just totally, that's a total aberrant thought against how the world works that we live in, right? Like, it's just not how it is. Yeah, let's see. Sunwise says, my bro got COVID and recovered and later got the vaccine recommended by doctor, and my mom blames every negative thing since on the vaccine. Yeah, I mean that's the unfortunate thing. Like I think even if you had COVID, I would go get vaccinated. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm waiting to get a booster shot realistically. Um but yeah, like, you know, like I went and got vaccinated for a bunch of stuff and they had a giant pamphlet, a lot of questions to ask about allergies, about things I've been affected with in the past. Have you ever had this? Have you ever had that? Do I have this disease? Do I plan on getting pregnant? And I was like, look, I don't plan on getting pregnant in the next month. Maybe after that. Maybe after a month from now, I'm gonna get pregnant. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe I'll change my mind. You know? Excuse me, Mr. Doctor, man. Maybe I'm gonna change my mind about me getting pregnant. But it's gonna be but don't worry, it's gonna be a month from now. You know what I mean? So, yeah, there's a ton of questions, there's a ton of stuff, and people don't read it. People don't read it. They don't know their medical history. There was even a question that I couldn't answer on my medical history. That I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot too. And I was like, look, I don't have an answer for that. If that's a problem, let me go see if I can dig up some of my medical history and see if that's whatever. And it turns out, no, it wasn't a problem. It just would have been better to know so that, you know, one of the hepatitis boosters could have been a booster as opposed to the initial one. Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm just a guy, just a dude. And the reality to me is that like, yeah, Patreon exclusive. Joel's getting pregnant in September. That's right. That's a Patreon exclusive. Oh, which reminds me, hey, this show and this channel and my ability to be able to make anything is brought to you by Patreon and YouTube members. We better update the members, and I got to give a shout out to a couple of people who are new members. And hold on, I have to reload the page here. But Sunwise is a new member. I know that. Returning member on YouTube members. Sunwise has returned to the fold. That's so nice. James Floyd is a brand new YouTube member as of like a little over a week ago. Linda Worth is a brand new YouTube member. Ketil Johansson is a brand new YouTube member. And Amy is a brand new YouTube member, which here's what's crazy is that with all that, we had some other people leave. So we literally went from 82 to 83, which is great. You know, some people asked, hey, when are you going to be able to just make YouTube videos? And I was like, look, if it was a membership or a Patreon thing, the Patreon has a goal on it. There's a monetary amount there, and maybe you are super rich and you want to sponsor me making videos full time instead of doing contractor work, and instead of doing art for people, and instead of doing design and editing for other people and all this crazy stuff I'm up to all the time to make money, to pay the bills. You could go on there and you could look. You could look at the number and go like, I'm super rich. I'm going to be the guy who does that. Or gal. Frankly, I would say it would be cooler, in my opinion, if we were sponsored by a female, but you know how it is. You know how it is in this world. When it comes to rich people sponsoring your YouTube channel, you just go with it, right? Because they're chipping in like 10 grand a month, and you kind of just go like, yeah, that's all right. You got that fracking money? Okay, I'm going to take it, and then I'm going to make anti-fracking YouTube videos. It's, you know, it's one of those reasons that I work with the people I work with. It's not because I make a ton of money from them or anything like that. It's because I respect and believe in the companies that I work with. And I've never had a fracking billionaire approach me. But if I did, it depends on the number. I gotta be honest with you guys. If somebody gives me $10 million to make YouTube videos for a month, I'm probably going to take that cheese. You know what I'm saying? If I go Casey Neistat and sell my YouTube presence for $25 million, you know what I'm saying? You can start making surf videos, and I wouldn't mind making surf videos if you know what I mean. Our Patreon was the first of the month yesterday, and as of the first of the month, as every first of the month comes around, a bunch of people's just disappeared. So we actually went from 174 to 163. That's how it goes. You know, if you have an expired credit card, I guess go fix it or something. But it is what it is. So the Peru trip is coming, and get vaccinated. Just freaking do it. Okay. I got the typhoid, hepatitis, dengue, yellow fever, and something else that I can't even remember now because I just don't. Whatever that disease is, I want protection from it. You know what I mean? Then I also got malaria medication, which I start taking tomorrow. And I also got diarrhea medication and a Z-Pack to take with me, which is antibiotics. It's a fast-acting antibiotics in case I get like some wicked gut bacteria. I can flush the system, as it were, and so as you know, it's one of those things. Zen Ginger, Pam, I almost asked Joel to make me a mod last week. All right, Zen Ginger is now a moderator. Okay, good. Zen Ginger, welcome to the moderation team. I love the Zen Ginger, so you might as well moderate for me, because you know what's up. You know what's happening in this world. In this world of the uses, tubes, you now can moderate. Which I think gives you like unlimited commenting ability on stuff, I think. Yeah, I forget what it does. I don't know. It does a bunch of stuff for you. And then you have a wrench, and your name's Blue, which is cool. S says the warlords of the world are coming for the Patroon link. Understandable. But Punchy Paints is here. Oh, my God, Pam. Where you been? Oh, my God. Pam's been here the whole time. I'm scrolling back up. Oh, no, you haven't been here. Okay, you showed up. 503 Aquatics is here. What's up, dude? What's going on? Oh, throwing the heart emojis. All right, dude. I can get behind heart emojis. I like that. My mom finally got the first shot last Friday. Ooh, Mike. That's good news, man. I like to hear that, Mike. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. And, yeah, Geek Boy was saying they tested on a whole bunch more people than that a-hole that said hydroxychloroquine fixed COVID. Yeah, and that's the problem is that we have a lot of, like, kind of these weirdo peripheral people. All these weirdo peripheral people that came out of the woodwork to get whatever unhinged nonsense, and then Joe Rogan listens to them. And as much as I like to be a fan of Joe Rogan, the dude's going off the deep end, and, you know, it's not my job to tell him what he's doing. I don't know. It's not my job to interject with Joe Rogan about, hey, you keep platforming insane people, and then all of a sudden the crazy nonsense that they say just gets regurgitated on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all this stuff, and it's crazy. Yep. Krager's Fish says, "Oh, you're going to Peru? I thought with these immunizations, you were headed back into the dating scene." I'm not heading back into the dating scene. I'm taking Vicky with me to the grave. Well, my grave. Well, that's the plan, at least. I mean, as long as she wants to go with me the whole time, then, you know, I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to do the best I can to be appeasing my lady, my partner, because she is my partner and I love her to death. And yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I don't. My thing is that I think that if I was leaving, I think that if Vicky and I split up, I don't think I would do. I would have no intention on dating anybody else. That's not what I'm about. Hi from the UK. Oh, hi, Paul. Hi, Paul. Hi from the USA. The USA. the United States of America via Washington State, which probably doesn't mean a lot to you. Seattle's over there, basically. Yeah. Let's see. What was the other thing I was going to talk about? Oh, the other thing I was kind of weirded out about, I was reading about amoeba, and I just got totally weirded out about amoeba in the river. Yeah. So that was weird, and I don't really have any commentary other than I just wanted to say, oh my God, amoeba freaking me out, dude. A little bit. It's getting me a little bit freaking out. So that was a weird thing. It was a weird thing that I think we all had to do. Geek Boy says, I've not listened to Rogan in a few years. Don't even remember what diatribe it was that turned me away. Yeah, I mean, I think to me there wasn't never like one specific thing that happened. I think it was a cumulative effect that he would have all these people on his show, and he was at the point where it's like you're making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. So you don't like have an excuse to be like, oh, I'm just going to have somebody on my show. I'm not going to look up their background. I'm not going to have like some assembled questions about whatever it is that they're going to come on here and talk about. There's like zero preparation and all that kind of stuff. And to me, he would get on there and he would just like listen to like Ben Shapiro and just be like, okay, yeah, oh, right, yeah. And then every once in a while he would interject where it's pretty clear that even from his standpoint, he would be like, yeah, but that doesn't even sound correct like at all. And they'd be like, oh, no. It's because you're blah, 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 right? And then we go like, oh, okay. And then just let it happen. And it's pretty clear that like he's smart enough to know what's going on. And at the very least, he could be prepared. Because he's had people on there like Candace Owens that he never had back on because he kept going like, yeah, that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. And then, you know, there was parts where like he would have guests on there and he'd be like, well, Jamie's just bringing up stuff over here. This is like a 2-on-1, you know, and you're like, I don't know if this is a 2-on-1, but like if you're an expert in your field, you should be able to answer some questions about your theories and whatever it is that you've been spending the last 40 years working on, right? Like Jordan Peterson, right? Jordan Peterson's a perfect example of like, let's say I had a bunch of conversations with Jordan Peterson about his theology and whatever crazy nonsense it is that he's up with. That all comes down like a house of cards when you start to realize like all of that stuff that he was doing, he was in the middle of active addiction. He was constantly telling people all of this advice that he didn't follow at all. And none of the advice that he gave on how to get yourself out of any of that situation worked for him. He literally put himself into a medical-induced coma in order to get off the drugs that he's on, even though everyone in America and Canada didn't advise it. It said that that was inadvisable, that that was a terrible idea. It flew all the way to Europe to get shady doctors in Europe to do it, almost died from it, and then plays the victim card all day long whenever anybody brings it up. It's very interesting. It's very interesting that there's this, that you're like, none of the stuff that you've ever talked about do you even remotely back up at all through your actions, you know? And yet Joe Rogan's like, he's a nice guy when we go eat dinner. I'm like, okay, this is terrible. Zen Ginger says, but Joel, did anyone come back with any of the weird things from Peru last time? I don't remember hearing about any butt worms, but maybe Corey wouldn't have shared them. If somebody else has a story about what they had going on with them, they can share that with you. If somebody told me a story, you know, about whatever happened to them, I wouldn't recount it to you because it's not public information as far as I know, right? So I generally wouldn't go that route. people that I know on a personal level, like my family members that have been and have spent long periods of time in South America, have recounted specific stories. And the one that I brought up earlier was my mom's friend who went down to the Amazon and then, like, after being back for a month, had a butt worm. And then there was another friend of mine that had, or a family member that had an intestinal situation. And then I had another family member that was hospitalized in Ecuador, which is right next door to Peru, for a week because having eaten something. Turns out it was fruit juice. It was like some ghetto fruit juice that was consumed. And yeah. So, yeah. Although the funny thing with that one is that my family member that was hospitalized for like a week, in the hospital for like a week on the fluids, blah, 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 medication, all that kind of stuff, da-da-da-da, got out. The bill was $2 American US. You know, the rest was all covered by, you know, the people, the cumulative effort of the Ecuadorian peoples, you know. Any ransoms I know that go somewhere always get something. I don't know what that means, but only drink sealed bottles is good advice. One of the big issues is that apparently some people have figured out how to make it appear. They refill the bottle and make it appear like it still has the seal on it. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to do the best I can to not be injured or get sick. You know, just do the best I can. Fish Tropic says, butt worms are for real, folks. They are. That's true. It's very true. You know, and the Zen Ginger says, oh, well, if you did hear any stories from the people specifically went, like I said, I have some stories from family members and friends that have gone, not anybody associated through the co-op or anything like that. I don't have any of those stories. The ones I got are from my family members, so who remain nondescript. And another one was a family friend who was a friend of my mother's who had the butt worm. And that whole situation freaked me out a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want a butt worm. I'm just saying. I just don't. Is there a specific fish you hope to net or invertebrate? I'm very interested in netting some wild puffers. That is going to be crazy maze. That's going to be really cool. Where the hell did that list go? I had a list somewhere. I don't know. Oh my god, I have like so much stuff to try and keep track of at this point. I don't know where the list went, but those are on my list 100%. Want to net some puffers. I want to net some weird plecos. I want to find some really cool plecos. We'll see how that goes. There's lots of them down there, right? So I'm going to see what that's all about. And then the main fish that I'm going to try and find is some autosynclus. So they have these orange-nosed autosynclus down there, which I'm going to see if I can find some of those. They're really cool. And then the zebra autos, and then the autosynclus affinis, which is just kind of the generic one. I want to see if I can find some zebra autos. That would be really, really, really cool. But the only fish that I was really thinking about bringing back would be those orange autosynclus or the zebra autosynclus, which are a little bit bigger and very cool. I have no plans on bringing any fish back. Everybody has told me, yeah, you say that now, but we're probably going to bring blah, 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 right? I don't have time to bring anything back. I don't have time to bring anything back here, land it, keep it healthy, anything like that. So if there's a way that I could maybe piggyback some fish, then maybe. But that's the problem, is that like it's going to end up being somebody else's issue. That's not a great situation for me to put somebody else in. So I wouldn't. My plan is to not bring back any fish. But you never know. There might be something other than fish worth bringing back. But I do plan on bringing back some photos and videos and stuff like that. Oh, my God. I mowed the lawn earlier today, and it was like, I don't know if you guys let your lawn die. We let our lawn die out here because, like, who cares about the front yard, right? And I mowed the dry lawn out there, and I've been sneezing ever since. It was like dust and hay. My God. Yeah, it's I've been sneezing. Off and on. If you scratch your bum, go check your hole. God. Jack Kawamoto says, it isn't very often I get to catch your live streams, but it's funny the ones I do see always has butt jokes. Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard to say that there may or may not be butt jokes in my live stream, but there probably will be some kind of butt joke for sure. So one of the issues that I have is that I've had to reschedule one of my filming shoots, right? I'm trying to figure out 13th. Yeah. So I was trying to do the math here or whatever. We had to move our whole filming trip. And it's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit crazy how everything is moved around. But I land here on a Monday. Then I got to come home. Then I got to drive about 250 miles out to a film location to go film. Then somehow load up my trailer onto a different truck and drive all back here. So it's going to be crazy because one of the videos I'm working on for the channel this year requires a bunch of filming out on location, and the filming for that was scheduled in August. As you guys know, August has begun, and I'm going to be leaving out of town. Then my family's going to come here and come help Vicky while I'm gone. Then they're gonna drive a trailer over to the location where we're gonna film. I'm gonna land here, drive home, probably take a bath, grab that other setup film equipment, cameras and microphones and stuff, load that into the truck, probably wash my laundry, figure out if I'm dying of amoebas or whatever, right? Go get an extra COVID test, drive 250 miles to where that's being filmed. It's going to be a little bit crazy. So we'll see how this all goes, but yeah, just so everybody knows, I'm going to be gone for 1, 2, 3 weeks. Yeah, I'm going to be gone for 3 weeks from YouTube, basically August. So we're going to see how it goes. We're going to lose members. We're going to lose patronizers. We're going to lose all sorts of people. It's definitely going to drop off, but it is what it is. There's not much else I can do about it other than do the plan and follow through on the plan and go that way. What was Alyssa saying? For LO46, I think people catch them in Brazil and then walk over to Peru and pretend to have found them there. So the way that the law goes is that if a fish is not considered native to Peru, you cannot ship it out. So there's no borders where the fish live. Right? They'll go up and down the river. They'll do whatever. But man will introduce their eyeballs and their sense of their frontal cortex and their brain thinkings and all that stuff and identify whether or not a fish is legal to ship out of Peru. It will come down to them. The experts will say yes or no. And if it's not native to Peru, you can't ship it out from Peru. So regardless of whatever hinky business you all are planning in the chat, it's not going to work. It won't work. Get in trouble, and I'm not I'm not about to be getting in trouble. And as far as I know, there are border agents at the border on the river, so you're not going to be able to do any of that stuff. Yeah. There's guys with the gunboats, you know what I mean? Have you ever seen Gunboat or Night Boat? What was it, Night Boat? I think they made fun of that on The Simpsons. Is there a live bearer's sound that way you know of? There are live bearers down there. I'm going to see what's there. There's a whole litany of them, but I think it's really going to come to whatever we end up catching. And like I said, you guys are going to see really good video on Aquarium Co-op, probably starting at some point in time after we're back. I'm going to be there filming like the whole time, and we'll see. Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's why I'm not going to be bringing any home. Yeah, for sure. We weren't planning anything. I asked what would happen if you caught a zebra pleco there, if you'd keep it. Well, the thing with that is that like, if we happen to catch something really unique, you know, Dean and Randy and Corey and myself, at the very least, will be there. So if we caught something really unique, and I think some people are bringing back some fish. I think Randy and Dean I think somebody's bringing back fish. I don't know who, but somebody's bringing back some fish. So if we catch something like really unique like that, there's a chance that it could get shipped back up here. But like I said, it's not going to work for me because like I can't take care of any fish coming in and importing fish. You know, I just can't. I do not have time to do it. So it's not going to work. Oh yeah, and somebody else, I was asking something. Aquacast says I'm lurking, but I have to say I thoroughly enjoy the butt jokes. Nice. I just read the description. What does INT mean? Intelligence. It's short for intelligence. Wow, Jack reading the description. I like it. Look at that. Very good. Very good. Very well done. Okay. So let's fix this. Click this button. See if this is working. What is this? Get out of here. Okay. There's that. There's that. Oh my God. I have emails to reply to. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for today. I'll be honest with you guys. If we got a whole bunch of members today or something, I was going to do another live stream. But I will check. I will check before I leave. And if we get new members while I'm gone over the next day, then maybe I'll do another show to say what's up to those new members. Paul says maybe grab a little bag of substrate. You may get lucky with something for eggs, etc. Well, the problem with that like importing soil is like impossible. So you can't import soil via a whole bunch of laws and international restrictions and stuff like that. So I don't think that would happen. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think that would happen. I don't think you would be allowed to. I don't think you'd be allowed to do that. I know that there's a lot around importing and exporting soil specifically. It's like a big time no-no. So, yeah, I don't think that would work. Well, hopefully everybody hit the like button today, because apparently that's a thing. I have to say it, otherwise people won't do it as much. Because I was looking at our analytics here, And so the likes that we got was just, it was up there and then it went down because we didn't say anything last week. Alyssa was on the show, and, you know, like, did we get enough likes on it? I don't know. I don't think so. It seems like we didn't get enough. So I'm supposed to say that because then it makes people pick up their phone and interact with the internet, you know? And then YouTube is like, oh, cool. People are interacting with their phone or whatever. So that's what we're doing today on a Monday is hitting like buttons and heading on out because I got to get back to work. I have to pack some more stuff. I got to go pick up Olivia from baby school. Does she go to baby school? I don't know, but I'm trying to teach her that it's school and they have fun there, and I hope that I can try and just embed it in her mind that going to school is fun and learning is good. Almost getting to that point to start speaking to her in German. I don't speak German, but maybe we'll just switch everything to German so she learns that. Maybe Chinese. That might be useful in the future. Word up. Thank you, everybody. The only super chat of the day was from the Fish Tank Barn, helping to pay for some vaccines. Good times. Much appreciated, and no new members or anything like that. So, all right, we got to figure it out. Push buttons, do the thing, and let's go.